Good evening, candidates and audience members. Thank you for attending the League of Women Voters of Santa Fe County's Candidate Forum for the Mayor of Santa Fe. I'm Hannah Burling, and I will be the moderator. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Santa Fe County, I want to express our gratitude to the Santa Fe New Mexican for broadcasting our candidate forums this year as a service to the community. The League is committed to civil discourse. The candidates have agreed to follow the League protocols for candidate forums, including respecting the time limits for their responses, not engaging in crosstalk, and being mutually respectful, courteous, constructive, and orderly, even when they disagree. The questions we ask have been selected by our screening panel to focus on the issues that seem to generate the most interest. Questions that are similar will be consolidated, and questions that are directed to one candidate or contain a personal attack will be eliminated. Due to time constraints, not all questions can be asked. We invite you to stay after the forum to talk to the candidates. And I have to add that we are now at capacity for questions. We have all the questions we can possibly ask. Our timekeeper, Mary Shrubin, is sitting in front. When a candidate has 15 or 30 seconds left, depending on minutes assigned to the question, she will hold up a yellow warning sign. When your time is up, she will hold up the red stop sign. At that point, we ask that you wind up your response immediately. If not, I will interrupt out of fairness to all. In the interest of time, please save your applause until the end of the forum. This is also a longer candidate forum than usual, so Henry will be calling for a 5-minute break somewhere around halfway through. Before I introduce the candidates, I want to review the responsibilities of the Mayor of Santa Fe. Mayor of the City of Santa Fe is head of the executive branch of Santa Fe, New Mexico's government. The Mayor's office administers all city services, public property, police and fire protection, most public agencies, and enforces all city and state laws within Santa Fe County. Candidates must be a registered voter who reside in the city. The mayor is elected for a 4-year term, and I must correct myself. It enforces all city and state laws within the city of Santa Fe. We will begin with 1-minute opening statements by the candidates and conclude with 1-minute closing statements. First, we will hear from candidate Justin Green.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Justin Green, and I'm running for mayor of Santa Fe. And we all know Santa Fe is at a crossroads. We're desperate for leadership, and we're desperate for a change in Santa Fe. I'm an architect, a small business owner, and a current county commissioner here in Santa Fe. And in those jobs, I've gotten to be known as somebody who gets the job done. So what does that mean? As an architect needs to know how to read plans and how to build projects. And our housing crisis runs right through the skill sets that I have as an architect. That makes me unique amongst my competitors up here. As a small business owner, that's fast. So as a small business owner, we also learn how to deliver on our every day in minutes or hours for things that we do. We can't dawdle or make things take too long. And as a county commissioner, I know how government works or doesn't work, and I can bring that to Santa Fe to make some of our best practices that the county has had apply at the city. I ask for your vote. I welcome you here. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
And now we'll hear from Michael Garcia.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for spending your Tuesday night with us, and thank you to the League of Women Voters and the Food Depot for hosting this forum. My name is Michael Garcia, and I'm running to be your next mayor. I was born and raised here in Santa Fe, and then upon graduation went just down the road to UNM for my undergraduate and graduate degrees, and now I'm back home living in my hometown. Currently work for the federal government. I work for a smaller agency called the Mayoral Forum. I'm a city councilor, as well as I'm a father and a husband. I have 3 children. One we just dropped off at Yale. Sorry for being emotional, it's pretty tough still. 8th grader at St. Mike's, and then a toddler. So as a city councilor, I'm pretty proud of my record, and hopefully you'll be able to learn more about that today. But more importantly, I want to share my vision with you in regards to how we as a community can grow together. That's my priority, is we are going to do this together. This isn't just the mayor's vision, this is our community vision. So I look forward to spending the next 2 hours with you, and let's go.
And now candidate Ms. Leticia Montoya.
Hi everybody, I am Leticia Montoya, and I first would like to thank everybody for being here today. Also the League of Women Voters, because I am a past board member with, way back when I was really young. Okay, so I am here with my husband, Michael Segura, who is a disabled veteran. And anybody a veteran here, I thank you for your service. You probably ask yourself, why is she running for mayor? Well, you know what? This journey started 4 years ago when I started getting contracts for the city, and I'm seeing what's going on inside our city and what's going on outside our city, especially with our homeless population. So for the last 4 years, I've looked, I've watched, and I learned. But the most important thing, I listened. So for everything that we're seeing that we feel that there's no hope for change, I have a plan for everything. Homeless population will be gone. Thank you.
Hi, Kyobole, Goye. My name is Oscar Rodriguez. I'm running for mayor to make things better in our beloved city. I'm from here. I'm an enrolled member of the Tallgrass Band of the Lipan Apache tribe, a people who lived here for centuries and still call this land home. I'm the first among the Tallgrass to go to college. I went to Harvard, and then I went to MIT and got a master's degree in city planning because I wanted to help lead cities. Since then, I've worked for some 30 years for large and small cities in New Mexico, elsewhere in the US, and abroad. And currently, I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the New Mexico Finance Authority, where I manage $3.5 billion in assets and $1.5 billion in annual cash flow. I now want to bring this expertise to bear for the benefit of the city of Santa Fe so that we have a more capable city government and a more united community. I have been working in this area, and as a result, I have touched upon the full spectrum of city services. I believe I'm an expert in all the full services. And so when I'm mayor, your city government will resolve housing. Okay. Sorry about that.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you all for being here as well. My name's Joanne Vigil Koppler, and I'm running to be your next mayor. Many of you may know me from last 4 years ago. I'm running again because things haven't improved. Santa Fe is not working for me, and I'm sure it's not working for most of you. I come to you tonight with a wealth of experience. I was born and raised in Santa Fe. I've worked in the city of Santa Fe for 2 different mayors at 2 different administrations. Both have endorsed me, Mayor Art Trujillo and Sam Pick. I've also worked for 2 governors. I've worked for the state Supreme Court as deputy director. I've run the First Judicial District Court. What else can I say? I'm ready to go. And I know that I bring a wealth of experience that you can depend on. And when I sit in that chair, I know what to do on day 1 because I've been there and I've done it, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Ronald Trujillo. I'm a lifelong resident of this city, born and raised here, and as you might know, I spent 12 years on the city council. During those 12 years, we did a lot of good here in this city. We passed the parks bond. We got a lot done. Roads were clean. Santa Fe's at a crossroads, like it's been said many times. We're the capital city of the state of New Mexico, but we sure don't look like one, and we sure don't act like one. I think that's what everybody here in this city wants. They want a city that's beautiful, the city that they can be proud of. That's what I want to bring back to the mayor's office. I want to restore the dignity and the pride that a mayor should be for this community. And I also want to bring back the pride to this community. I want you, when you drive into your city, you can say, hey, I live in Santa Fe, the capital city of New Mexico, the most beautiful city in the state of New Mexico. And I promise you that under my leadership, Santa Fe will start acting and looking like a capital city. So muchísimas gracias.
Hi, my name is Taryn Nix. I'm your resident social worker. I have a small business here in Santa Fe, and for those of you who love good government, since you're here with the League of Women Voters, I'm going to guess that you do transparency, honesty, results, good policy. I think that's what everyone's here for to hear. I've been delivering that day in, day out at the New Mexico State Land Office as your deputy under Land Commissioner Stephanie Garcia Richard. We have held industries accountable. We've restored more acres of public lands. We have delivered more returns. And we've done that with the happiest and healthiest workforce in the state of New Mexico from a government perspective and the country. We are nationally ranked 3 times. I'm the only one here who's taken an agency from 0 to hero. I know how to build the dream team. I know how to bring community groups and organizations back to the table. I've done it every day. I have the results to prove it, and I can't wait to share my views and what I hope to do here in Santa Fe with you. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. As a former League of Women Voters, I'm pleased to be welcomed here and have all of you join us. I'm Dr. Jean O'Dean. I'm kind of the outlier and late out of the gate because I was recovering from toxic mold and fungus and having to move. So that is going to be a major platform. I know it's rampant here in Santa Fe. I grew up in Iowa. I raised my family in Massachusetts. I have my doctorate in education. I was not only on the cutting edge of education, but the bleeding edge of education. So I came to Santa Fe in extended stays in 1996. I enrolled my sons in Fort Lewis College. I did 2 Senate bills that were recognized by the Federal Department of Education as the most innovative program in the country. I have been traveling abroad with a mandate for the Turtle Island. I've been in the bush countries with the Maoris, advancing my quantum hexadynamics and advancing global knowledge economy in developing countries. Thank you.
Our first question is, what is your position on reconfiguring Fort Marcy Park to better accommodate large, 25,000 plus attendee events? We will begin with Mr. Green.
So thanks again. So I live by Fort Marcy Park, and the Fort Marcy Park is near and dear to me. So over my career as an animal lover and dog owner, I helped found the Fort Marcy Dog Park. So I've been invested in redeveloping Fort Marcy Park for years. So in terms of reorganizing this, as an architect, one of the things that we need to do with the park is make sure it's safe for large events. And so part of that is making sure that we have independent groups that come in, fire marshals and folks that are independent, that can look at the space and understand how egress can operate in a way that doesn't, we shouldn't have to cut down trees just to make room for zozobra. There are other alternatives, and we shouldn't feel forced to do this at the last minute. And so as a neighbor for Fort Marcy Park, it's near and dear to me, and I appreciate having the events in Fort Marcy Park, but they have to live in synergy with our neighborhood and make sure that we can live together with that. The pickleballers have expanded there, the dog park expanded there. We need to work on safety first in the park.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Garcia.
Well, I know the question is about the park, but I'm more interested in what goes on inside of the facility. I mean, one of my frustrations as a counselor is that we've invested so much money into that swimming pool that folks can't even go swimming there. So we got to be, first and foremost, begin to maintain our facilities. Then we can worry about how we're going to maintain Fort Marcy into a major event center. Should it even be an event center? It's in the middle of a community. And I know that we've begun to host wine and chili there, and we're looking at potential other opportunities. But first and foremost, that's a community park. It's not a concert arena. That's not what it was built for. It's there to be a recreational facility for whether it's indoor sports, outdoor sports like tennis, pickleball, baseball, soccer. Let's begin to really make it what it is a community space again. And then we can work with partners like Kiwanis or Wine and Chili to ensure it's meeting their needs. But first and foremost, the priority lies with the residents.
Thank you. And now Ms. Montoya.
Okay, I live in that district also, and we live on the Lobato land grant, which was my great-great-grandmother's father, goes back generations. So I've seen what that park has gone through and what it is today. And the thing that kind of concerned me is that all of this snapped up like one of those pop-up facilities, and then it's gone again. And so this was already planned. This is just part of a smaller picture to the bigger picture. So we cut down 12 trees. 12 trees, from my understanding, are going to be all the trees. And they have a plan for it in the general plan. And that's the thing that I tell everybody, is that we need to know, what are you guys doing for reals to that park? What is it? Is it going to be an event center, just like Michael said? Who knows? But I do know that there's a person that told me a lot, and I thank you so very much.
Yes, thank you. I was at Zozobra this past 2 weeks ago, and it seemed that the limitation of the population, or the limit that was imposed of 50,000, it seemed to make a big difference. I had been there, but I'd been there pretty much every year. Last year, it just seemed very, very uncomfortable. I felt very unsafe with it. I had young kids with me, and I was very concerned about them as well. So I think that the limitation has had a great impact. Pardon? All right, I'll raise my voice. And so, I'm glad to see the improvements that have been made so far. Now, the idea that it then becomes the center stage for all major events, I would not be in favor of that. I think we need to start tailoring some of those back, if not in number, certainly in population, so that the impact to that neighborhood is down.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. So, I'm not really sure, but I know that when I was a youngster, we used to go to Zozobra and we used to lay a picnic down. We used to have chicken, and nobody, we had our blankets surrounding us. Nobody would, encroach on our view. Everybody sat down. But those days are gone. We have to get used to growth. So you can't buy any more land around there. I don't see anything available. So maybe it's either cap the attendance, which I think is the most safe thing to do, or move the venue. And, I think the neighbors have had a very courageous battle with the crowds, and we need to think about them. But surely we need to keep this safe, and we need to carry on our traditions and not forget about that. But I would collaborate with every single body and organization that is responsible for putting this wonderful event on for our community, and come to a meeting of the minds about how we can keep this tradition. Thank you.
I think everybody needs to know what Fort Marcy was. Fort Marcy was, at the time, was a fort, but after that, it was where the Santa Fe Demons used to play baseball and football. Majors Field at Fort Marcy. I played Babe Ruth there. What some of the greatest, my childhood times there. The thing about it, what's unfortunate is, yes, we've had a lot more events that are happening there. I brought the Fuego. I think it was a great venue. The thing about it, Fort Marcy was underutilized. We brought a professional baseball team here in Santa Fe. It's thriving. And from that, other events have now started to sprawl. Yes, Zozobra has been there all these years, but again, I've been to over 50-some Zozobras. Zozobra has just expanded. It's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And my opinion, too, it's lost its home ground value that it used to be when we used to go there. That's the unfortunate thing. But again, too, the neighborhood has to be involved with the decisions that are made. When we passed the Parks Bond back in 2008, I wanted Fort Marcy to be on the list, but unfortunately, the two councilors that were representing that district said no. You know, that's the unfortunate thing. But now there is money for Fort Marcy.
So if there's one thing I've learned after almost 7 years at the land office is land management is hard. But if you actually are trying to have multi-use, it's not that hard. We managed to have hikers, campers, hunters, oil and gas, economic development leases, all kinds of stuff on your public lands, and that is multi-use, right? We fail to do that every time here at the city, from the GCC to Fort Marcy. We know that the Fuego is begging for a turf or something that doesn't harm and make injuries happen when the balls bounce. You know, I don't think we've made the right investments for the user groups that are desperate for space already in our community. The last thing is, if you want good government and transparency, do you know what's not? Waiting over a year to notify residents that they're going to take the trees down. That's right. In May of last year, P&M asked to take the trees down. The city had a year to work with the residents, to have the community conversations, and they opted not to. And that is every time. So, yeah.
Yes, hello. As a child, I would climb trees, and I'd hide from my 6 other brothers and sisters in the tree, so I can relate to all the tree huggers. I attended the city council meeting, and there had to have been close to 50 or more people in their public comments concerned about the cutting of the trees. When I was in New Zealand with the Maoris, I learned the sacredness of trees, and as a quantum physicist, it raised your heart. So we've got to keep the trees, we've got to keep the open spaces. One of my suggestions is, because of my expertise in immersive 3D virtual worlds, we could do a virtual world of Zozobra and bring in revenue, and people can interact as avatars, so we can keep the population down. The other option is my associate, James Dugan, and I have offered to purchase the 64-acre Midtown campus and create a Santa Fe version of Austin city limits and build affordable housing. So that could be another major venue to consider. Thank you.
This is another 1-minute question. What will you do as mayor to protect our immigrant population and ensure their access to local services? We will begin with Mr. Garcia.
Well, as mayor, one of the first things I will do is not bow down and cower to our current president. I've already been exploring how, should he threaten the loss of federal funds, how the city can immediately begin to supplement that funding. In addition to that, I will work hand in hand and collaboratively with our immigration committee. These are the experts on the ground that really understand the needs, the challenges, and the fears that they're currently facing every day. I want to be able to support them in a manner where our city can be a community that not only is immigrant friendly, but is immigrant proud. We are a community that has been founded on immigrants. Prior to our native brothers and sisters that have lived here for thousands of years, we have to remember this community was founded on immigration, and we cannot turn our back on it. Now is the time where we, unfortunately, got to tell the presidential administration, thanks, but keep ICE out of our community.
Okay, everybody, this is really important. Okay, I'm really active within the Democratic Party. I sit as CD3 vice chair of Teresa Ledger's area. And when it all started, there was a big rally down here at the railroad station, and there was probably over 1,000 people. I was one of the candidates that was there. And they're expressing how they're doing the jobs that a lot of us don't want to do. And we're seeing it now in our grocery stores. When I go in there and I see that the fruits, the vegetables are getting thinner as we go. I tell them when I'm mayor, we will have an office inside City Hall that will help all immigrants. And that's including myself. If you think about it, we're all immigrants. I may be Native American from Alaska, from Asia, but how did I get here? You know, so I'm telling everybody is that we got to remember we're all immigrants and it can all happen to one of us. Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez.
I'm sorry to say that the scenario where masked men come and start hauling people away, where there will be roadblocks in the highways blocking traffic going both sides, where you have miles of backup, where there will be funding cuts because we don't obey, we don't bow to the federal government. Those days are coming. We will see those at some point. And the best way I believe that we can address those is be prepared, be united and be prepared. Be ready to find ways to replace the revenue and still do the services without the federal resources. Be united so that the community doesn't begin to then take sides, you know, some for, taking sides of ICE, etc. And also be united as a city government so that when our police officers see masked men making roadblocks, that they will call it in to dispatch, and then dispatch will then notify anybody that's interested in information like that as if it were a traffic stop.
Thank you. First, let me say I'm very proud of our city for being supportive of a sanctuary city. I think it's important to respect all cultures and all of our values. You know, I think part of the issue here is to protect our immigrants is to make sure they're educated where they know what their rights are. And I would work with Somos Unidos to get that to get them more involved or give them the resources they need to make sure that the people they work with know what their rights are and ease their fears, because it is a very fearful thing. Next, I would give them the resources to make that happen. I certainly would continue to do what we do now, and that is our law enforcement doesn't cooperate. I mean, they don't raise a red flag and say, here we are, here they are. But I would enforce the law. If we have people breaking the law, no matter what, they have to pay the consequences. But I would not call ICE on them. I mean, I think we need to just be clear that they have to protect their rights. Thank you.
Well, when I was on the council, I introduced and I passed the resolution that gave immigrants licenses. You know, immigrants are part of this community. You know, as it was said earlier, immigrants do some of the jobs that we don't want to do. We have to protect them. We, as mayor, we will follow federal law, but ICE we are not going to help ICE. That my police force will not help ICE in any which way. You know, we have to protect the rights of everybody in this community. That's unfortunately what's happening throughout the world, throughout this country. You know, we're seeing rights taken away from good human beings, and that's something that I'm not don't agree with. That's not the Santa Fe that I grew up in. You know, like it's mentioned, we're all immigrants. The border crossed us. We didn't cross the border. So people need to remember that. So, you know, immigrants will, under my administration here as mayor, they will feel safe, and they will be safe under Trujillo administration.
So, you know, I think you remember those days when you had the phone tree that you'd all have the little person that you'd call after you and go after and after, right? I feel like we need a system like that, a notification system that alerts our undocumented brothers and sisters of what's going on in the community. We also need free legal defense aid because folks are going to end up in those situations and they need help. We are not having a conversation about why we're allowing face coverings and unmarked vehicles to kidnap people in the middle of our community. We could stop that, not necessarily by force, but at least stopping the face coverings, making sure that they're marked vehicles so we know and have warnings. And then lastly, I think it's expanding the services that community really desperately needs. It's free healthcare like via Therese. It's reinstating our public transportation. I really do feel like we can expand public services and give them safe spaces if we really just try. So.
Hello. I've become aware as an educator that our school district is short of about 90 school teachers. They're substitutes, and they are looking at bringing in Filipinos and other people from different countries. My concern is with what President Trump is doing, how we are going to get those educators in here. So I do welcome immigrants, but I do want to recognize the indigenous people and the Hispanic people and the Anglo people that make the mosaic of here. We are looking at building a recovery clinic and a new residential center, as well as affordable housing. 1,000 Adobe homes will be affordable for the first responders and the teachers to live in Santa Fe, but also welcome the immigrants.
No, I haven't gone yet.
I'm so sorry. I
All right.
lost all the bread.
No problem. All right, got to fight for our rights. And part of fighting for your rights, is fighting for your neighbor's rights, and that's part of immigrants' rights. So this is near and dear to me. Just to give you a little bit of my background, I grew up with family members that were subject to the Holocaust and escaped the Holocaust, and grew up with schools that taught the Holocaust. And so this is something that we need to stop in its tracks right now. But more importantly, closer to me, is my wife is an immigrant. And this is like, she's near and dear to me, and she's here, she's smiling, and she's happy to be here in Santa Fe. Productive citizen, law-abiding, just like 99% of our immigrant population. We need to support them. So beyond just supporting them and standing and marching with them, we need to also create the programs, and this is where the city comes in. The city can create immigrant programs aimed at our Spanish-speaking population, whether it's entrepreneurial programs or workforce development programs, that lift people up and make them much more successful in our community, and so that they can survive and succeed in our community, not just feel safe. Safety first, success second. Thank you so much.
This is a 30-second question. The City of Santa Fe has an ordinance which addresses the licensing and certification of animal breeders. Will you have a city employee auditing and enforcing this process? And we are going to begin with Ms. Montoya.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely yes.
Yes, and I'm a supporter and have an animal welfare summit coming up that'll take care of a lot of these issues.
Yes, and actually, not only, I think when we look at this type of issue, enforcement is a real priority for my administration, and that's why we would create a whole separate division for enforcement, whether it's animal breeders, short-term rentals, any violation that's kind of currently going unlooked in our community. This new department is going to make sure folks are doing things that are allowable in our community.
This next question is 1 minute. Tell us your specific views re annexation of Area 1B. Are you willing to cede this parcel to the county, or how do you plan to deliver city services?
Thank you. A very basic value, I think, for any community is that people should come closer. Sorry. A very basic value for any community is that its members should come willingly, should join you willingly, and any promises that you make to them when they come in, that you fulfill them, that you follow through with those promises. And so the city would, under my administration, we would make sure that either we are able to provide the services that were promised to them, or at that point, let them go their way, et cetera. Because among other things, it's not that profitable, if you will, for cities to annex land in New Mexico, because the property taxes, at least for the city, are really small, and you really can't recover the cost it takes you to extend a lot of those services. So if the citizens want to be part of the community, there should be a reason for that. There should be an incentive for them to want to be part of your community. And those you want to let in. But to force them to somehow ask them to come in anyway, no.
When I first joined the city council, I knew this issue had been afoot for a long time. And one of the first questions I asked the mayor was, what are we going to do about this? When are we going to get started with offering these services, getting this community built out with the infrastructure? And there didn't seem to be any concern. And I wasn't sure he really knew what it was all about. But nevertheless, here we are 8 years later, almost, and we're here in limbo. I have a good friend who lives in that area, and you know, she can't function. They tell her, go to the city. They tell her, go to the county. And certainly, if they are supposed to be in the city, they can't vote. They can't vote for us right now, and it's not right. They're neither fish nor fowl. I think Santa Fe County wants them. Santa Fe County has fought for them, and I would explore letting Santa Fe County take the ball and run with it. But I would support the affordable housing project that's going up there to continue. Thank you.
The unfortunate thing that's happening now is the city and the county don't talk to each other. They can say that they do, but they don't. Because why are we having this discussion? When I was on the council, we started the annexation. We had those discussions. I had those discussions with Commissioner Montoya, Commissioner Anaya. We spoke on a regular basis on how we were going to do annexation. Annexation was going really good. Unfortunately, it just seems like this administration came in 8 years ago and everything stopped. Everybody stopped talking to each other. That's the whole basis of my whole campaign is collaboration. Collaboration between the city, county, state, federal government. If we don't collaborate, if we don't talk to each other, we don't know what's going on, then we're in the dark. And that's unfortunate for county and city residents, and especially those residents that are in the annexation. They have no idea where they're in the loophole. Am I going to be in the county? Am I going to be in the city? Am I going to get this? Am I going to get this? They don't know. And unless the city and the county actually sit down, bring the stakeholders to the table and have those discussions, you're going to keep these people in limbo, and that is totally not fair to them.
So starting like 10 years ago, I started going door to door with she wasn't Commissioner Hansen. We were actually trying to get her elected. But this issue has not only been around for this part of the annexation, but the first two phases of annexation, if you ask anyone who's been brought in, they'll tell you that they're not getting the services that they were promised. And they encouraged this third wave to fight back and to stay in the county where they were getting served. We have land in the state land office, has land within the area. I was part of the conversations that worked out an agreement to keep the residents in the county and keep the open land in the city. I think that's the fairest agreement. I will not force those residents into the city because I think we are at least 4 to 8 years away from being able to give them the services that they deserve.
I lived in the Agua Fria area, and I loved the open space and the neighbors as well. My concern, I concur with Ron. When I became the official candidate for mayor, I ran into the water commissioner of the county. We've got serious water problems, and people have to be aware of the leakage coming from Los Alamos labs. If we're going to be separating the city and the county, we've got to forge, because water's precious, and we've got to go beyond the boundaries between the county and city. When I was getting my petition, so many people from the county wanted to, express, we need to merge as a metropolitan area. So I'm kind of torn on both sides, because some people want the independence from the city, but quite a few want to merge with the city and the county. And all I can say is we are in a water crisis, and we've got serious leaking from the fracking as well as Los Alamos. So it's got to be dealt with, both city and county.
Thank you very much. So I'm the only candidate here that has actually taken a vote on this. As a county commissioner, we had to vote to whether to support or to deny the rights of the Area 1B residents. And I voted in support of Area 1B to not only become to remain a county residence, but also to become a part of the Agua Fria traditional village, which was what they wanted. We were overturned in court. But here we are now, and with the situation peaking up again. I also want to say that the main part is that Santa Fe has failed to deliver on bringing on all the annexation that it's done over the last few years. And so before we think about annexing anything else, we need to finish what we've started and really focus on delivering those services to mostly the south side, but there's some other areas around town here. We got to finish what we started. Thank you very much.
Okay. So I'm in complete favor of Area 1B staying within the county. When this matter came before the council, I was not in favor of the city litigating the resolution that got passed by the county commission. In my opinion, the city bit off more than it could chew. We can barely keep our own community services afloat. For us to think we can work towards now implementing Area 1B, we're reaching for the stars. We need to focus on what we have right now. So I would be in full favor of Area 1B staying within the current area. Now, when we look at how things were done in the past, there was collaboration. But the unfortunate thing is these type of instances have now pit community members against one another. This is not how we grow as a community. When you have a faction of our community that says, city, we do not want to be a part of you, we need to hear and respond to their needs, not take them to court and overturn their desires.
Thank you. Ms. Montoya.
Okay, I do agree that Area 1B needs to stay in the county, and the reason for that, my friend just told me this like a few days ago. She's part of the individuals that live in the reannexing, and it hasn't happened. So I'd asked her, well, have you had any updates and any services, anything, anybody tell you anything? They said no. I said, is it just the same old, same old? And she said, yes, we still have our well, we have everything, our electricity and all that stuff. So, and I asked her, do you want to stay in the county or do you want to stay in the city? And she chose to stay in the county because it hasn't changed, and when someone's telling you that, we need to listen and tell you that our services need to come up to power. And I know we have some people here that are sitting in those positions, but what's happened? Nothing. The people are still suffering out there that are part of this problem. So we got to go back to where the problem stems. So I'll tell you, it's these two right here. Thank you.
This is a 1-minute question. What after-school programs and initiatives would you create to support and engage young people? And we'll be beginning with Ms. Vigil Koppler.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part of the question, or else the whole thing, because I didn't understand your...
What after-school programs and initiatives would you create to support and engage young people?
Oh, goodness. Well, first of all, I would work with the schools to see what they need, because I don't think the city should impose what we think should happen with them. And I know the schools have very many ideas about what should happen. But, I also think we need to study and look at our own recreational facilities, which kids use, and make sure they're up to par, which they're not, and get those in good shape so that those can be valuable for the schools to use. I do know there's some partnerships out there who have spoken to me about, they have offered their services, like their basketball gyms and this and that and the other, to schools to use, and for some reason that isn't happening. They collaborated with the city, and the city said, no, we don't want to be a part of that. So I think there's a lot of ideas there. I don't have young children anymore. My son's a paramedic, much older than to play, but I would certainly go to the experts. It's the moms and the schools. Thank you.
I am so sorry I allowed an attack on two candidates to go unremarked. We can't have that here in this forum. Thank you.
Remember what I said earlier about not talking to each other? That's exactly what's happening with the city and the schools. When I was on the city council, we had MOUs. We had those MOUs with the schools so that our kids could play basketball, football as after school. I don't know what's happened. I mean, it's real simple. It ain't brain surgery to do an MOU. You just call your county commissioners, hey, you know, your schools, how do we do this? How do we collaborate together? That's the nice thing about it too. We were collaborating with the county. We were able to use county facilities as well. You know, these are the things that the city has lost. We used to have probably one of the best summer programs in this state, and it went away. You know, our kids would go to summer programs to the different parks and all that. They would even go to Albuquerque, you know. Unfortunately, revenue raised here in Santa Fe goes to Albuquerque, but still, we were taking our kids on field trips. These are things that I am going to bring back to this community. This is what it's about, is we got to take care of our children. You know, one of the biggest things that, you know, and I started it, our annual Children's Fishing Derby. For some reason, this administration doesn't want to put it on. I'm going to tell everybody here, the fishing derby is going to return under a Trujillo administration.
Yeah, I think we can do a few things. I think we can work with the community college to establish a lot of mid-level, kind of entry-level training and job work for like vet techs, for dentists, for film, for renewable energy, you know, getting kids kind of a pipeline to jobs. We also can reinstate the park internship. We used to give high school kids internships into our parks during the summer and spring, and we would offer a job to one or two of them. It was a great pipeline into city government jobs that should be put back. And lastly, I don't know if y'all know that the city had a program 2 years ago that paid single mothers to go get their GEDs and associate's degrees and provided a universal basic income. I think our students need that. I think we have a lot of students who are having to quit school and their extracurricular activities to go get a job to help their family, you know, stay in Santa Fe, to afford to live here. And I think we need to start having some really tough conversations with our schools and with the community organizations and sports groups that know exactly who's at risk. So, thanks.
Yes, when I was a mother of 3 children, I became a community organizer and developed after-school programs as well as parenting phases programs, so I do have that expertise behind me. The key thing that we need to be concerned with, not only after school, because I know there's teen centers. I am a proponent of mentorship and apprenticeship. These children are being disconnected, being on their iPhones and video games. They need to be with older people, younger people, you know, to guide them, because there's so many misplaced children. The other thing now, with the governor saying universal child care, yes, it's great that it's going to be free child care, but where are these children going to be taken care of? So that's a key thing, now, you know, now before school, after school, but, you know, we've got to get it intergenerational. I know that they can be meeting, going to the nursing homes, working at the park, but, you know, we've got to get into the workforce aspect of it. Thank you.
Now, Mr. Green.
Thank you. So as I mentioned earlier, I like to lead by example, and this is a place where 27 years ago, I was a co-founder of Warehouse 21. That was an amazing program, and I was a young adult, a young architect here in town, and Ana Gallegos y Reinhardt asked me to help her stand up this organization. Meow Wolf, one of our most successful organizations in the arts in Santa Fe, just down the street over here, created half of the original artists of Meow Wolf. That's what we need to be investing in, is the next generation of artists. So there's a body of work that says that we're missing our target. We're starting too late when we start mentorships in high school. We need to start in middle school. That's when kids are learning independence and need those role models. And those role models then lead them into opportunities where they can go. And so I will create after-school programs that start earlier, so families have more support, but the kids have the support they need to be successful adults and learn their programs, whether it's in the arts, athletics, tech, you name it. That starts earlier in middle school. Thanks.
Mr. Garcia.
When we invest in our youth, we're investing in our future. I'm going to say it again. When we invest in our youth, we're investing in our future. Now, I don't believe you're ever too old to be invested in. So as a city councilor, I'm very proud of a work-based learning program that I stood up with the city of the Santa Fe Public Schools. Collaboration is happening. There's been more than $2 million invested in our youth to offer up opportunities to our young folks for internships, whether it's within city government, pro-business, or nonprofit. These are going to be the leaders of the future. These are going to be the folks that are taking care of us in 10, 20 years. Now, as a counselor, I've also been proud to invest in our youth in recreational aspects. Returfed 2 fields at Regal Park, returfed Salvador Pettis Park. Now I'm looking at really revitalizing Franklin Miles Park. We need to ensure that we're providing ample opportunities for our youth to ensure that they are being productive and ultimately wanting to contribute to our community.
Thank you. Ms. Montoya.
Yes, this is really important. When I was growing up, we had Monica Roybal Center, Alto Center. We had centers that were open after school, so they would pick us up, take us over there. And I saw that everybody turned out really well. I have a master's in education, youth at risk, and so we weren't latchkey kids. And now it is happening because parents have to work 1, 2, 3 jobs because our wages are so low. So the whole thing too is also how come we don't have care in our workforce? Like I used to in my own company. I owned Assure Financial. We did investments, and when our employees' children got sick, a day off or whatever, they came to the office and they hung out with us and they learned what we did for a living. So I think by bringing kids to work to be a part of the whole scenario of the city government, we can do it, and we can start showing these kids from ground zero what it is to be a city employee and to be proud of it. And now there's a lot of fundings. Sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Montoya. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, I have a 14-year-old who's in the 9th grade right now, so I'm paying a lot of attention to what kids do in school these days. And so I have a proposal to you for you, a proposed model, and that is where we, the city, sees the kids not as the school district's kids, but our kids. You know, they have them during the day. We have them all the rest of the time. And happily, I have experience doing this. I was once the executive director of a thing called the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. And we had many hundreds of thousands of park acreage and many recreation facilities, et cetera. But we were on it. We were very connected to the schools. The schools would shut down at 5 o'clock. We'd take over. We'd run the gyms. We had recreational programs throughout the 2-county area. There's some 2 million people there, et cetera. In the summer times, we immediately picked up where their team athletic activities were taking place, and so we were able to do that pretty successfully.
Before we take our 5-minute break, I'd like to introduce Amanda Bregel, Director of Communications for the Food Depot, which is very generously hosting us this evening. And she'll be saying a few words. Amanda, are you coming?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our warehouse and happy Hunger Action Month. If it's your first time here, I hope that you are a little blown away by the size of our operation. We have 150 sites across 9 counties. Of course, we are here in Santa Fe, our main warehouse is here. So we're very invested in the mayoral race and all of our elected officials. And although we give emergency food out, one of our primary pillars of our strategic plan is advocacy and ending food security long term. And of course, that comes with policy. Every policy either increases food insecurity or increases food security. So we are hoping whoever becomes mayor continues to help us work towards a healthy, hunger-free community. And we invite you to come to our warehouse on days other than the Mayoral Forum and come help us pack some onions, work at a food distribution, hang out. You are always welcome here. Our warehouse is a place of joy, a place of impact, and we can always use more hands. So welcome, and we're happy you're here tonight.
Thank you so much. And now we'll take that short break. question. Would you support establishing a joint city-county water authority that would have jurisdiction over all water resources in the future to ensure equitable distribution? And we'll be starting with Mr. Trujillo.
Well, we have the Buckman diversion. I mean, that's something that's, vital to this community, for the county and the city. As for joint between the city, you're talking all water systems, including Buckman wells and all that, right? That fall in the city. Well, that's the thing. You gotta come to the table. We gotta have those discussions. I'm willing to talk to county commissioners, to see what we can do. But right now, my job as mayor is to protect Santa Fe's water for the city residents. But I'm open to having discussions with county commissioners.
So while we won't be the first community impacted, if the toxic plume gets into the Rio or the Chama, we're all going to be impacted, and it will require the regional conversation, not only for water, but for waste. I think we are missing that opportunity. Got a great relationship with the county manager and a lot of the staff, and I have no doubt that we can come up with real solutions.
Yes, my first degree was in environmental science. I first worked with the EPA and trained military as I transitioned from the military to careers in environmental fields. I know how critical the water is. Now, we just had a settlement with the Rio Grande. I don't know if people have caught up with that, but that just occurred. That was between Texas and New Mexico and the federal government. What concerns me now, especially being aware of what's going on in the AI databases, they're going to be taking out a lot of water. Okay. You got me hot on that one.
Mr. Green.
Thank you very much. So I am currently the chair of the Buckman Direct Diversion Project. And so I work as a county commissioner with our city councilors. So one of these great examples of collaboration in a city and county project. I'm also, as a county commissioner, in taking part in the Amet settlement with the 4 tribes up in the north and the 5 parties between the county, Tesuque, Nambe, and Powake and San Ildefonso. Our regional water, we have lots of regional water projects around here. Additionally, we need a new wastewater treatment plant that can be an aspect of our recycling, and the city and the county can collaborate on that.
Mr. Garcia.
Yes, I would be in absolutely full favor of a joint partnership. Writing's on the table. We're in a water crisis right now. And we need to ensure that we're working collaboratively, not within the city residencies, but within county residents, to ensure that not only we have enough water for this generation, not only for next generation, but 7 generations down the line. That's the way we need to be thinking, is 7 generations down the line in regards to housing, resource availability, and ultimately collaboration.
Thank you. Ms. Montoya.
Okay, this is a tough question because I was up at the water, the plant up in Canyon Road, and what I saw, the whole process of what we've put up already for the longest time, it goes back when they first started those dams, and I would have to say no. And the reason for that is that we put too much money into it, and we're selling water to the county as right now. So that means the county doesn't have the resources for that. So I'd have to say no.
You know, I know it sounds like a great idea that we would be kind of like the Albuquerque-Bernalillo Water Authority, but there are a lot of impediments for that to happen. And one of the first questions I think we should ask ourselves is, do we use our limited water resources to make possible sprawl, or to make possible greater density in a city so we don't sprawl and we don't have that big environmental impact? And also that we are a city that can sustain its sources.
Thank you. Ms. Vigil-Coppler.
Thank you. I don't interpret that question to mean that we are going to give away our water rights. What I interpret the question and the issue to be is, shall we work together? Because water is a crucial issue. Now, I also chaired the Buckman Direct Diversion, and it's a committee of 3 counselors and 3 county commissioners. We work well together. I was chair of the Solid Waste Management Authority, where we worked well together because we plan our trash and we planned our water. Now, there's very many issues that we work together already on, and hopefully I can cover those in another question.
This is a 1-minute question. What are your plans for Midtown, formerly College of Santa Fe? And we'll be beginning with Ms. Nix.
This is a fun question. For one, I think I'm the only one really trying to think big when it comes to affordable housing. I'd like for us to do what other communities have done around the country and have a $100 million trust fund that the city builds out, owns, and operates and guarantees it stays affordable for generations to come. And that should be in Midtown. It has the kind of bowl shape that allows you to build up a little bit higher than normal areas allow and have that density, have Section 8, have affordable units, allow for the residents of Hopewell Man that are going to be pushed out at some point because you can't create protections for them. Was that a minute? Oh, I was like, oh, Lord have mercy. So I think there's a housing opportunity that we're going to miss if we continue down the path currently on Midtown. I also think that I'm the only one talking about the fact that there are tens of millions of dollars of environmental contamination in Midtown that needs to be dealt with. I'm willing to make that a brownfield. I'm willing to go after hundreds of millions of dollars in cleanup money and redevelopment money to make what I'm talking about a reality. So.
Yes, Midtown is a hot button for me as well, besides water and environmental. But my key thing is I stood up before the December 11th City Council meeting and asked the City Council to pause their vote for the Aspect Village studio. We were making a cash purchase for all 64 acres to build affordable housing. It'd be Adobe style, as well as create a Santa Fe version of Aspen city limits. I found out afterwards why Daniel Hernandez did not proceed and introduce this to the City Council and the mayor was the owner of Philip Josue. When I did research, because it just didn't make sense to myself and Mr. Dugan, Philip Josue, when you look at his strategic capital out of New Jersey, he is a subsidiary of a Chinese Communist Party, Construction of America. He built a 34-story condominium for Chinese nationals. He is also a senior developer for Steve Witkoff.
Thank you, Dr. O'Dean. Mr. Green.
Thanks. So as a young architect, I was one of the early planners of the rail yard. And what does that have to do with Midtown? The governing law to redevelop Midtown is the same governing law, the Metropolitan Redevelopment Act. And I am the only remaining professional in Santa Fe that has experience working under the Metropolitan Redevelopment Act. I worked for the city of Santa Fe in the rail yard office back in 1995 and 1996, a little bit in 1997, writing the Metropolitan Redevelopment Plan for the rail yards. We need somebody with experience and knowledge of this to be able to make sure that Midtown meets the goals of the community at large and of the neighborhood around it. And so I know that, with the folks that are up here, that I have the unique skills for this problem that we've had that's lingered for way too long. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
This project is near and dear to my heart. It's one of the main reasons why I ran for city council in the first place. And the reason was to ensure that myself and my neighbors in the Hopewell Man neighborhood don't get pushed out. Because I guarantee you, I am not leaving. So my priority is to ensure that the project is successful. I've led the process to ensure that the percentage of affordable housing was raised. They originally proposed 20%, I got it raised to 30. I actually wanted 40. One of the first things as mayor I will do is ensure that there is 20% workforce housing developed in addition to the 30% affordable housing. I see a place where Gregarson thrives, I see a place where Fogelson thrives. I see it becoming a place where it is the new center of our city. It has been dead for so long. It is time that we begin to redevelop it and breathe life into it that it deserves.
Thank you. Ms. Montoya.
Yeah, Midtown campus is really important because, like I tell everybody, if we sell it, it's gone forever. Poof. But let me tell you something. I saw what they were going to do with Midtown campus last August. I went to a meeting in March, and Midtown campus, they're telling you what you want to hear, but what they're really going to do is do something totally different. And my thing is Midtown campus needs to be affordable. And affordable means that it could be 100% because it's city property. And that's what we should expect. We should integrate some public housing, and even with Consuelo, since they're already there, they're doing good, is make it a city where we all interlock together, because it happens in other states. And the thing about it is that we have one opportunity for Midtown campus, and let's make it green so that we don't put more pressure on our solid waste plant, because it's ready to go. So thank you.
Boy, cities all around the world would die for the opportunity that the Midtown campus presents to it. It's at the geographic center, a lot of space, a lot of things can happen there. And it's been stuck. It's been stuck in politics. I mean, not good or bad politics. I'm just saying it has to go through a political process every time they make a decision. And those are hard. It makes, for developers, a lot of uncertainty for developers and people who would want to partner with the city on that. So I would propose that we learn from our experience in Santa Fe, which is the rail yard, where the city fathers approved a master plan, and then they said these are the things we want in there, the things we don't want in there, and then appointed a board to make all the deals from that point on, so long as it complied with the master plan. And look at the rail yard, what it is today. On the other hand, Midtown campus, every time there's a deal, it has to go to the council. It creates a lot of uncertainty for the developers, and that's why it's stuck.
When I first became a city councilor, we voted on this project. We voted on what was to happen. And before that, there was numerous community meetings, many, 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 little Post-it notes and such, and the community. I mean, we need to get off the dime. We owe millions on this property, and everything is taking way too long. But when you think about what it has to offer, I think the public has been very, very patient. We need to take advantage of the arts, the film, the library, the recreational opportunities, the community space, and integrate it with the St. Michael's Link corridor, livable, walkable neighborhoods. There's a whole neighborhood there, not just the campus. It's time to stop talking and start doing. And that's the case with practically everything that happens in the city. Look how long it took to build the Alameda Bridge. I think I'm going to be a skeleton 6 feet under before any of this comes to fruition. I hope not.
Well, I live in the Balama area, so I've seen this, and I was actually on the council when we purchased the College of Santa Fe. We saw that as a great piece of property that we needed to protect and we needed to save for the future of Santa Fe. At the time there also, we had the College of Arts that was renting it from us. After I got off the council, there was all this talk about what we're going to do, redevelop it, all this. Guess what? It's all been talk, 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 talk. Let's bring in another resolution. Let's do another study. Let's do another resolution. Let's do another study. It's time for action, people. Dirt and shovel ready. We need to start moving on that campus. If you've driven down the campus, I invite all of you, go look at it. There are certain sections of there that look like a dump. It's unfortunate that this administration has allowed this to happen. It shouldn't be. It should be, being taken care of, cleaned, and all that. So I can guarantee you, under a Trujillo administration, we are going to be dirt ready and shovel ready, and we are going to you're going to see stuff. Not just all about apartments, not all about, the movies. We got to make it for us, the people that live here 24/7.
This is a 1-minute question. What would you do about our shortage of affordable housing? We'll begin with Dr. O'Dean.
Thank you. In my travels with global knowledge economy and being with the indigenous people these last 10 years, I've been fortunate to be part of an international trust. With my candidacy, this is one of the key reasons why I'm running for mayor, is I have $8 billion to back up my infrastructure and development platform. I'm not going to be like Oprah. You get a car, and then you have to pay taxes later. I'm a systems thinker, and what I'd like to do is build a coalition and do co-opetition. A co-opetition, not the competition between the mayors. With this funding, it'll go not only to the city of Santa Fe, but it'll also go to the state and the Indian reservations. So we've got to make the priorities. There's no more excuses of we have no funding, but we need to take action. We can't keep on doing the bureaucratic. So the first of affordable housing is we have with Mr. Dugan, 1,000 Pueblo adobe houses, affordable.
Thank you. Affordable housing and housing in general is one of our biggest crises here. And as an architect and a real estate developer, I do have the background to unstuck what's going on here. So here's my solution. The first part is that we need a new affordable housing plan for the city of Santa Fe. So as a county commissioner, we adopted a new affordable housing plan about almost 18 months ago, and that enabled some state laws to allow us to invest and co-invest in projects. And so what have we done? We've gotten 700 new, deeply affordable houses in the pipeline, with one of them groundbreaking a couple months ago on Highway 14, another one down next door on Highway 14, and one at the corner of Cerrillos and Airport Road in the city of Santa Fe. We're doing this as Santa Fe County. There are ways to do this in partnership with the county and the city and the state, but first off, we need to adopt a new affordable housing plan. We need to work on missing middle housing as well, which is a key aspect of making sure that we have housing for everyone in Santa Fe.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Mr. Garcia.
What I would do is continue the momentum we've built with using city land to develop affordable housing and take it a step further and actually develop workforce housing as well. Affordable housing right now, we use area median income. And right at this moment, you have to have about $70,000 your household to qualify for affordable housing. One of the first things I'll do is raise that AMI up to 150%, which will be folks 105,000 or less will qualify. Teachers, police officers, etc. Then I'll begin to restructure our fee in lieu of process. Enough is enough in regards to collecting the fee. I'm tired of taking a fee of $9,000 instead of developing an affordable unit. Over the years, that's brought in $2 million, but we've lost 400 homes. Unacceptable. Lastly, I'll begin to look at infill projects. There are many places in our community where we can develop dense building inside the community where affordable and workforce housing can be built.
Thank you. Ms. Montoya.
Okay, yeah, affordable housing, there's no affordable housing here. And I tell people that once the middle class is gone, you're going to see nobody buying homes anymore. They're going to be renting them. And we need to also redo the zoning to where the developers only have to pay, they only have to build 15 houses. We can raise that to where they have to build 20 to 25. And also, yes, the AMI, which is, it's a formula where they determine if you're eligible for these programs for affordable houses. We need to increase that to at least from, I'm saying from where it's at 80 to 120. And that'll allow that the income level to allow nurses, first responders, city workers. Because I'll tell you right now, we have city workers that live in their vehicle. And that's really sad when they tell you, and you see people that get up every morning, go to work, city, county, and they take a shower there, and they don't have a place to go home, to call home. Sad.
Yes, we are indeed in a housing shortage crisis. It's keeping our kids from being able to afford to stay here, and for those who want to come back after college, etc., it's hard for them to come back, and it's causing a lot of problems. It's causing homelessness. It's causing, it's stifling economic development. It's causing massive pollution as 50% of our workforce has to commute in from out of town to come up here, et cetera. We desperately need to do something. And the way to do that is to build a lot more houses, a lot more, and develop houses and developable lots. There was a model that the city used very successfully. It's called Tierra Contenta, where the city bought a massive a parcel of land. They extended the utilities there, and as a result, the city had hundreds of buildable lots for years and years and years. Frankly, that's what kind of kept the Santa Fe instead. We need to go back to those sorts of models. And on top of everything else, we just need to be able to make sure that our building permit process is faster.
Thank you. I'll go back again to when I was a city councilor. We did explore and begin the exploration of identifying city parcels around the city where we could create programs that would give incentives to builders to build. Our good example right now is just down the street. On the Sila Road Arts Project, the condos that are right here. The city donated that land, and it made it possible to create some of the most wonderful affordable units. They're all filled right now. But nevertheless, we do need to speed up the general plan review, the development code, and remove obstacles for affordable housing, like increasing density. That's really important because you can't have affordable housing if you continue to require large acreage per one house. The other thing is, I agree, we need to speed up the permitting process. That adds dollars to every house that a builder builds, because for every month it costs $40,000 for a builder in delay of costs gets added to the house.
When I was on the council, we made a commitment to affordable housing. We purchased the Northwest Quadrant. And as soon as I got off the council, guess what? The past council, let's start selling off pieces of property to other developers. You know, forget about the affordable housing, let's make some money. That's not the intent of what we were gonna do. It was about affordable housing. You know, but again too, one of the biggest issues we've had here is we've never defined affordability. What's affordable to you might not be affordable to her. What's affordable to me may not be affordable to you. This is the problem we have here in this city. We need to define affordability, and especially for our children. You know, my son lives in Albuquerque now. Why? Because he can't afford to live here in Santa Fe. Would I love to have him back here? I sure would, as a lot of people here in the Santa Fe would love to have their family living here. But that's the unfortunate thing. We need to come together. We need to have these talks that they're hard to talk about, but let's actually sit down. Let's have a talk about affordability, and let's make sure that we build affordable houses within the city that are comparable to people that they can afford and they can stay here in the city that they were born in.
So I think I'm the only person on this panel that can say they have a home, they own a home because of past city councilors in the 70s and 80s who decided to invest heavily in affordable housing through groups like Habitat. I have a Habitat home. Now, it was a starter home, and it wasn't exactly, cheap, but it was way more cost effective than it would have been had it just been one that was brought to the market. While I think everyone is well intentioned in their what they want to do, one, promises are easy, results take real effort. We need thousands of affordable units in single family homes, not hundreds, thousands, over 6,000 to be exact. We have over 1,000 unhoused people plus teens. We're not even talking about them. There are a lot of communities that need housing, that have housing right now that can't afford it. We are not thinking big enough. I want us to think big. I want us to streamline. I want us to make the real investment in order to have the housing that is necessary, to have the workforce, and to have the community that we also desperately want.
30-second question. Have you researched what other cities are doing about crime, drugs, the homeless to find out what works? what hasn't, and why. We'll be beginning with Mr. Green.
Thank you. I love the fact that you preface this question with research. And so that's some of the things that I do really, really well. And so part of what I've done in the last year or so is spoken to 2 DAs, 2 police chiefs, our sheriff, parts of the public defender's office, 2 Supreme Court justices, 2 magistrate court, or 1 magistrate court judge and 1 district judge, all to ask them, what can we do here better? Some of it has to do with city policies and getting some regional intelligence units so that the crime that spreads between the city and Albuquerque is stopped. So yeah, 30 seconds, this is a long question.
Yes, absolutely, and my administration is only going to move forward with data-driven decisions. So one of the first things I will do as mayor is increase our police force. And that's surely because the data shows we do not have enough officers. Municipalities our size have 220 plus police officers on our force. We have 169 at capacity. It's no surprise why we see the crime we have. Now, in regards to homelessness, we're going to follow proven models like a campus model to ultimately work to provide the services to get folks off the street, get them the support they needed, and lift them up.
Yes, I've done the research. I have a math degree, so I'm always analyzing stuff. And I'm using Fairfax, Virginia as one of my models because what I see in that city, and my daughter lived there, and that's why I want to use it. I didn't see no homeless population. I saw kids thriving. I saw the community working together. It didn't matter your culture, your nationality, and they are. So a lot of the stuff that I'm looking at is from that city and that state, because when you have a state that is fourth in the United States, tells you something.
Yes, always for policing and for greater public safety, always a 2-pronged approach. Enforce the law, make people accountable, absolutely. But at the same time, address those issues that cause crime, behavioral health, lack of opportunities, our kids not having enough recreational opportunities and things like that. And I believe only by doing both of those well can we get to a point where we think that we're very safe.
Thank you.
There's no doubt that crime has increased in Santa Fe tremendously. And when we look to other departments, we have to see what they're doing well. And I think that's always the case with any department in the city. We shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. But it starts with leadership in our police department right now. And plus, we need to enforce the law. Morale is at an all-time low right now, according to the police department employees. We need to increase staffing. Did you know that on graveyard shift, which is in the middle of the night, we only have 3 officers patrolling the city? That's not okay.
Public safety is top priority for Trujillo administration. But if you really want to hear a lot of stuff, go to my website. I have interviewed Sam Bregman, I've interviewed Captain Johnson, Gary Johnson, Detective Johnson, Greg Hull, Mayor of Rio Rancho, Adan Mendoza. All we talked about was public safety. What the city, what the county, what the state, what the federal government, what we need to do to make Santa Fe a safe city. So I'm talking to experts. You know, these are the people that have put their lives on the line 24/7. This was their career. You know, so I invite you to go to my website. You can see the podcasts. You know, yes, I'm taking public safety and the safety of our people very seriously.
I'm going to try to be fast. The closest capital city to Santa Fe is Albany, New York. Albany, New York has hundreds of assaults and batteries a year. We have thousands. That is because they invest heavily in their police force, double the budget. They invest millions of dollars in communications. They invest $1 million in community policing efforts and reviews. They take it seriously. They have community relationships to deal with the epidemics, right? We need a one-stop. We need to copy San Antonio, but expand it. It needs to have a mental health facility, a actual drug rehab facility that's free because we don't have any real cheap options.
Thank you. I not only researched another city, I was in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I was involved in the whole integration of the homeless shelters and how they work together. So I have a model to go with. through the $8 billion trust fund that we can do, we are planning on building a recovery clinic, state-of-the-art, as well as a brand new residential housing, and get into workforce development. I have an expertise in workforce development, so double the police force. Thank you.
This is our last question. It will be a 30-second question. Who among you has been responsible for the profit and loss of a business or managed the budget of a public or nonprofit agency? We will begin with Mr. Garcia.
So I've been in charge of a budget twice, well, 3 times now as a counselor. But first instance was as a project director for a nonprofit. I managed a $1 million AmeriCorps Vista grant. Then on the federal side, I managed a portfolio of nearly $20 million of federal monies that we put out throughout the state of New Mexico. Hundreds of employees, or hundreds of volunteers, thousands of AmeriCorps members I oversaw. And then as a city councilor, I oversee nearly a $500 million budget. So.
Thank you. Ms. Montoya.
Yes, my first job, I was assistant project manager. I was an engineer, so I oversaw a big project with related to war and defense. It was $1 billion project, and with my company, Sure Financial, we did investments and we did overnight trades for the state of New Mexico, and we dealt with billions of dollars of assets under management. Also, we had NEA, and we had over a multi-million-dollar contract with that too. Thank you.
Yes, I currently manage $3.5 billion of assets and an annual cash flow of $1.5 billion. And we just finished our audit. Audits are absolutely clean every year, year after year. Before that, I was a finance director for the city of Santa Fe. So I did their budgets. We also issued bonds. We did all the financing there. And in a prior lifetime, I was the executive director of a Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, and we had a budget of $800 million, serving a population of about almost 2 million people.
Thank you. Having worked at the city of Santa Fe twice, things were done a little differently there. We had an internal budget committee where I helped and assisted with managing that budget. I also prepared the budget for the New Mexico Supreme Court, for the First Judicial District Court, and not only that, I lobbied for every single one of those budgets at the legislature. I'm vice chair of the State Employees Credit Union. We're over $1 billion company, and I am instrumental in policy making and budget review for that. Thank you.
Well, yes, as a city councilor on the finance committee, we oversaw the budget. Also, in my working with the New Mexico Department of Transportation, I was the line manager for the Fleet Management Bureau, which oversaw the largest fleet in the state of New Mexico. So I oversaw the funding of that, distributing all that funding to the 6 different districts so they could purchase equipment and road cars, trucks, so they, so you can travel safely across the state of New Mexico on our wonderful roads.
Yeah, I've owned a business. I've seen the good and bad side of that. I've sat on plenty of boards and oversaw. Obviously, been 2 terms as your deputy, managing 9 million acres of land, 200 staff, bringing in billions of dollars. I know how to maximize enterprise funds, and I know how to not only pass laws that are necessary that we need to be more successful here in the city, but I know how to get a lot of funding. And I've proven that in all my roles, so thank you.
Yes, in my doctorate in education, as well as in my quantum physics, I was a director and administrator of colleges, but also in my global knowledge economy, I worked with the military industrial complex when they invested billions of dollars in developing countries, and 5 to 10% of that would have to go into education, workforce development, and economic development, so I oversaw that percentage. And hopefully I'll be overseeing the $8 billion for the platform. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm the only one up here who's run a small business for 20+ years here in Santa Fe. Our business has gone through ups and downs, economic downturns, COVID, you name it. We've been able to navigate, and that's a nimbleness that you need at a city when, especially when the threat of federal cuts could happen at any time. Additionally, I worked with Tesuque Pueblo, was on the board of their economic development unit, and as a county commissioner, we have a $280 million budget, and I've been on as chair as BDD and as a member of the SWAMA. So I've worked with county budgets and other organizational budgets at all different levels. Thank you.
We will now move to the candidates' 1-minute closing statements in reverse order from their opening statements. So we'll begin with Dr. Odine.
Thank you. And I appreciate everyone attending here, and I'm open to be hearing what everyone's needs is. I'm a coalition builder. I'm having the opportunity to meet with everyone and meet with organizations. As I said, I want to meet with the police chief, how we can double the police force as well. And with the education, I had with my Senate bill, I was able to lead the way in the country. I'd like to reestablish that. And you know, education is the key in economic development, as well as the affordable housing we have, the public safety, dealing with the homeless. It's just, I think everyone doesn't realize what the shelters and how they're ranking for felons, addicted and afflicted over the local people that need a place to live. There's not room for them. The priority for their funding is for the incarcerated, the addicted, and the afflicted. And we've got to change that. So, and I want to be part of that. Thank you.
Once again, my name is Taryn Nix, and I know it might seem crazy that I'm sitting up here on this panel, but 2 years ago, I started an organization called Fix Our City Different after reaching out to service providers and experts in our community to figure out why we had brown water, why we were losing union jobs, why housing wasn't happening. And what I discovered through 30 years of research of what's happened here in City Council and City Hall is that not only were our issues completely avoidable if people just believed in the rules of good government, but they're fixable. I truly believe they're fixable. And I know that everyone has great intentions and makes good promises, but we need more than promises. You've been promised housing, you've been promised water protections, you've been promised all kinds of things from this administration and others. And I want you so bad to know that I will deliver what I promise. I don't make a promise I can't keep. And if I think there's a solution and a path, I'm going to find it. I'm going to fight like hell until I deliver it. Oh yeah, by the way, go to teamtaryn.com to schedule an appointment. My calendar is online.
You know, if you're going to run for mayor, you got to care about this community. You got to care about this city. I'm born and raised here. I fell in love here with my wife. We raised 2 children here. I buried my father here. I'm committed to this community as a coach, as a mentor, as I served on the city council for 12 years, and also as I served, you know, with the state of New Mexico. You know, when people ask, who, you know, you work for this, you work for this, you know who I work for? The people of Santa Fe and the people of New Mexico. You're the ones that are going to elect the next mayor. You know, you have to look at all 8 candidates. Which one of us here is most ready to go in there day one? You know, I don't need on-the-job training. What I want everybody here in this crowd, everybody in Santa Fe, treat this election like it's the sugar tax, because you all came out for the sugar tax. This is a very important thing. I'm not trying to make this funny, but it's true. Treat this election very, very seriously, because the next 4 years are going to determine what Santa is going to be. Is it going to be good or is it going to be bad? And I can guarantee you, under a Trujillo administration, this city will thrive.
Ladies and gentlemen, this position is important. It's not a trainee position. We've had a trainee in the mayor's office for almost 8 years. It's not working. I come to you with a master's degree from the University of New Mexico in public administration. I come to you with 25 years of public service experience. I'm the only candidate who's worked for 2 governors, Governor Bill Richardson and Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. I'm the only candidate who's worked under for the city under 2 different mayors at 2 different times, under the most professional organizations. I've been endorsed by those 2 mayors, Mayor Sam Pick, one of the best mayors we've ever had, Mayor Art Trujillo. They know my work. I've also been endorsed by the Chief Justice of the New Mexico Supreme Court, district judges, and 2 city managers. Don't take a chance on a trainee position. This is important. I can get started on day 1, making a difference in Santa Fe. If you need heart surgery, don't go to a dentist.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez.
Hello. Well, I finally got it, right? Kind of late. So, thank you, League of Women Voters, for hosting this. Appreciate it very much. You've heard a lot of proposals tonight, a lot of ideas. I would just ask you to consider how much they depend on a capable city government, a city government that can actually do things. You've heard a lot of complaints about a lot of things not working, and I can assure you, you just can't go up there and just say, everybody just do a better job. It takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of experience to make things work well. And whatever ideas that you have is gonna need to be able to drive that great big 1,500 employee, $500 million machine to go where you want it to go and at the speed that you want it to go. And I would just ask you that as you consider who would be the best mayor, get the person who you think has that skill. And experience. I believe I have it, but if you see somebody else here for the good of the city, vote for them.
Thank you. Ms. Montoya.
The one thing that makes me different from all these great candidates, and I want to thank the league and everybody for allowing me to talk to you, is I work for the city. I'm a contractor for them. And I go out there, I pick up your shopping carts. If you notice they're not out there, we deliver them back. I go into IT, I go into solid waste. I'm the janitor. They call me the undercover boss because I listen to them and I clean their toilets. And you know what? They tell me at the end of the day, if you could clean my toilets, I tell you, you could be a good mayor. And you know what? That's what takes a good mayor. Somebody that's gonna go to that extra step to do things for the people out there that need the help. And I'm telling you right now, our homeless population is getting worse, and it's because we need to fix that. And it's something that pertains to city government. No rent control, no affordable housing, and no public housing. So everybody, we're doing it to ourselves, and we need to stand up for our rights, because it's only going to get worse. We need someone who cares. Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. And one thing I didn't really get to talk about was how proud I am of my city council service. I've worked collaboratively with every single governing body member that I've had the opportunity to work with on legislation. That means from the mayor to everybody else. The mayor who I don't agree with probably 99% of the time. I've been able to dedicate city land for affordable housing. I've been able to, as I mentioned, revitalize parks for our youth. I've been able to develop programs that ultimately will work to support our elders and our youth. Let's make no mistake, running government is not like running a business. We've seen how that worked out at the federal level and with the current administration. It doesn't work that way. It's a different type of business. Now, as we move forward, I am committed to boosting our police force, boosting affordable housing, boosting workforce. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm not working for me, I'm working for y'all. And more importantly, I'm working for generations to come. So I humbly ask for your vote. Rank me number 1. If not, please rank me number 2. I look forward to chatting with you.
And Mr. Green.
Thank you, everybody. This has been a pleasure to be with you tonight. It's great to be here at the Food Depot. So we've heard a lot of slogans, but we don't need slogans. We've heard a lot of wishful thinkings, but we don't need wishful thinkings. We need somebody who knows how to run a business, who knows how to run an organization, and has lifted up our government. And so as a county commissioner, I've liberated over $80 million worth of projects that were stuck that needed to get over the thing. That was through investment in our workforce, in project management training, and a whole bunch of other aspects that have made Santa Fe County work so much better than the city. I can bring those aspects to the city and make sure that the city operates much more effectively. So as an architect, small business owner, and county commissioner, I bring the full suite of expertise, experience, fresh ideas, and energy that is needed at this time in Santa Fe. No more slogans, get stuff done. I ask for your vote on November, and I look forward to talking to you after this. Thank you so much for being here, and please support the Food Depot. They do great work here. Thank you.
That concludes this evening's Mayor of Santa Fe Candidate Forum. I want to thank Bill Church, editor, and Patrick Dorsey, publisher of the Santa Fe New Mexican. And a thank you to Henry Lopez of Lopez Integrated Technologies and Matt Dalside of the New Mexican for broadcasting the forum. It will be available for future streaming on the New Mexican's website, sfnewmexican.com, and on our website, lwvsfc.org. I also want to thank our co-sponsors, National Organization of Women, American Association of University Women, Justice Council of the Universalist Unitarian Congregation of Santa Fe, National Association of Colored People Santa Fe Branch, and the Food Depot. In addition, I want to thank the Food Depot for their generosity in providing the Food Depot facility free of charge for the Candidate Forum. For more information on election and the candidates, read the League's voter guide. It's available at lwvsfc.org and vote411.org. The guide will also be published in the Santa Fe New Mexican on Friday, October 3rd. We want to remind you that if your question was not asked, you're welcome to stay after the forum to talk to the candidates. For those of you who are watching online, if you have questions for the candidates, go to vote411.org for the candidates' contact information. Be sure to make your voice heard in this election by voting, early or absentee, or at the polls on November 4th. Please join me in thanking the candidates for their participation. And good night.